of my remarks to why government is in the marriage business in the first place. As an institution, marriage has universally crossed all political, religious, sociological, geographical, and historical lines. It cannot be said to be the exclusive product or province of any one segment of society. As put by the famous philosopher Bertrand Russell, a self-described atheist, but for children, there would be no need of any institution concerned with sex. The fact of the matter is this: marriage as a state-sanctioned union exists almost entirely because of the societal responsibilities that are placed on a man and a woman when they create human life or have the potential of doing so. As the bill's purpose and intent section states this: thus, state-sanctioned marriage is a vehicle the state provides to a man and a woman as a means to encourage them to promise to the rest of us that they will raise to the best of their ability the next generation they bring into this world. The reality is, if such unions never produce children, if children were just another commodity one picked off the shelf at a local Walmart, the government would have almost no compelling interest in regulating the sexual relationships between two consenting adults. There's a whole lot more in my testimony about that, but I won't get into it at this time and just try to skip to the main points. Some will say that the premise I presented here today, that state-sanctioned marriage is child-centered law, there are obviously flaws since couples who either don't intend to have children or are not capable of having children still get married. This is true, though these examples are not problems with the law, they are merely exceptions, and I am at a loss to find virtually any piece of legislation that does not contain inherent exceptions within. However, as legislators, you know that good policy is driven by the general rule and not by the exceptions to the rule. If it were the latter, you would be hard-pressed to pass any piece of legislation in this body. Finally, there are two areas I do want to address. One is you'll hear testimony today that passage of the repeal law will be breaking up families. That assertion is simply untrue. Both pieces of legislation allow for previously contracted same-sex unions to remain valid after passage of this law. There will be no legal limbo, as was the case in California, when citizens there voted to ban same-sex marriage after it had been imposed by the judiciary. Even still, the sky did not fall when the voters of California restricted same-sex marriage after it had already been law, nor did the sky fall in Maine when the voters there reversed same-sex marriage in 2009. Finally, while Cornerstone opposed the civil unions law enacted in 2007, it did so because we argued it would be used as a vehicle to pass same-sex marriage thereafter, despite assurance after assurance from the bill's supporters that this would never occur. And here we are today. That being said, we do understand the desire of some supporters of traditional marriage to still confer certain financial and other related benefits towards their fellow citizens in the way of a mutual beneficiary or civil union type contract. To the extent that such a provision be added to the bill while still restoring the state's traditional definition of marriage, we would support that. However, I would caution the committee members that should such a provision be added, it ought to be inclusive of any two adults rather than hinging on the status of their sexual relationship. Members of the committee, thank you for hearing the testimony presented here today. We respectfully ask that you align New Hampshire once again with the 45 other states and affirm the opinion held by a majority of granite staters and by President Obama himself that marriage is between one man and one woman. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Are there any